Okay guys, Sunday the 24th of September and we are on the FTSE 100. So let's have a quick recap of this market from last week in relation to our Sunday analysis, and then we'll have a look at the market for the trading week ahead. Okay, so last Sunday, the main thing we were looking at really was the market breaking below these key levels of structure right here. And we were looking for potential pullbacks and then shorting opportunities as we came into what was broken support becoming potential resistance. So last week, really Monday, Tuesday, what I went over with subscribers was that potentially we would see the market making a bullish move back up toward these levels. And then from Wednesday onward, we were looking for potential resistance and potential bearish opportunities. Friday, we actually had a strong bullish run up. The rally really started to kick in when May started to give her Brexit speech. But even on the way up on the Friday, there were a couple of nice shorting opportunities. Now, we only had a trade on Monday and Tuesday last week, and then the short on Friday morning. On Friday morning, it was early morning. I was actually finished by about 8:15, 8:20 in the morning. Now, they don't happen very often, days like that, but they do come along when you are a trader. I was actually finished before my girlfriend had left for work. Absolutely fantastic days when they happen, although my girlfriend completely disagrees. Another thing, actually, just before we move on to this week's analysis, I got asked by one of the subscribers last week. He basically skipped out on the early morning short position that I took, and he asked if he had been overcautious. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being overcautious as a trader. I consider myself a very cautious trader. In fact, I am, I would say I'm an overcautious trader, and it's purely because I would prefer to not take a trade if I'm not sure. So I only traded on Monday and Tuesday. Then Wednesday and Thursday, we were back up at this key level of resistance that we were looking at. Now, we had strong moves down on both the Wednesday and the Thursday, almost to the pip from the levels that we were looking at. However, it just didn't set up perfectly for me to get into the trade. So I just sat on my hands. And the reason for that is because my trading psychology, I've learned it over the years. If I skip a trade and the trade would have worked, I'm absolutely fine. I can deal with it. But if I get into a trade that is imperfect, so if it's not giving me enough confluences to get into the trade, if I then get into the trade, let's say the short, and it moves against me and stops me out, that affects me a lot worse. First of all, I've damaged my account. But secondly, I look at it as though I have done it to myself. The market wasn't giving me enough evidence to risk my capital. I've got in, it stopped me out. Those kind of trades, they stick with me for a good couple of days, and I beat myself up over them. So for me, on the Monday and the Tuesday, I took the buy positions, and then I just waited the Wednesday, I waited the Thursday, and then I got that shorting opportunity on the Friday. So it's 2 days of doing completely nothing. It can be very difficult to deal with especially when you're first starting as a trader, but for me, it's much more important to just protect your account from losses. Now, if that hadn't set up quite right for me on the Friday, if there hadn't been enough confluences, I would have happily skipped that one as well and just waited to next week. As a trader, I always stress this, you do not need to be trading every day, and you certainly don't need to be taking multiple trades every day. Anywhere you're reading that, anywhere someone's teaching you that, they're talking absolute nonsense. I can assure you. Okay, so coming into next week now, not too much has changed on the FTSE. So still looking at key levels of resistance. We have pressed back up into these levels now. Previous levels of structure from key support, we've broken below. We're now looking for that potential resistance and continuation to the bearish side. Now, up above, again, we still have lots of key levels of resistance. One right here. And then further up, we have back up toward all these pins up here. Looking at this section, the price action here. Then down below, we have yet another one. Right here. If the market begins to press higher next week, I'm going to be looking for potential bearish opportunities all the way up into this section of price action. We have broken down below key levels. The market is now potentially coming up to retest. It makes sense to look for resistance and those potential sell opportunities. You know, only really if we start breaking up above these previous highs is the market then saying, okay, we're not accepting down here, and potentially once again we're going to attempt to move higher. But coming back up into these levels of structure, it makes sense to look for that weakness and those shorting opportunities. Now down below are levels of support. First of all, we have a key one sitting right here. We identified this over the last couple of weeks, looking at previous structure from May 2017. Then we're down toward another key level sitting right here. Again, identified using previous structure, the swing before the very strong bullish movement. Both of these levels, key support. You can actually bring this one up to include that spike down from Friday. Right here. Now if we start to break down below this level, it's very likely we're seeing the market coming down toward at least 7135, 7140, and likely to close the gap down towards 7115. Basically this whole section right here. We also have minor level of support just up above, 7242, up toward 7250. Really for me, this is a level of support. I'm happy to buy from this one and this one. I need very good price action from this one next week. Up here, all key resistance. Really up here, resistance. I'm not going to be looking for buys into these levels, or, you know, it depends what the market does next week, but looking at it right now, very, very unlikely to look for buys up here. I'm just going to wait, see if we find the key resistance for the potential sell positions. I'd be happy to buy from here, happy to buy from here. Certainly if we break down below either of these levels, looking for the pullbacks and then potential resistance for continuation. This one here, then looking for the continuation, at least down towards 7150. This one, slightly more minor, but still worth keeping on your radar. And that's pretty much everything for next week. Key things, resistance up above for potential sell positions. We do have key support down below, which has not yet broken. But if we do come up into here and start to see strong bearish sentiment stepping in, and we see the market pressing down toward these levels, it's very likely we're going to at least attempt to break down here. And if we do, we're looking for that move down toward 7150, 7135. Okay guys, so as always, I hope you all have a great trading week next week. I hope that was helpful. I'm James Orr, and thank you.